This is how we started training Aerial for free.
Hi guys! Welcome back to our channel, and today we're talking about training at home.
Yes.
Oh,
and money.
and money.
Yes.
How we train for free.
How we train for free. So we actually started doing Aerial in 2019 when somebody just invited us to a class and we went and fell in love. And at that time we started with Aerial Yoga, and we would go like one class per week. And Aerial Yoga was the cheapest of the aerial classes that there were, but then soon we saw all the amazing circus things and we were hooked.
Yeah.
But then we started noticing that every month we would spend more and more of our income on Aerial. And so we went from going to one class per week to soon maybe three or four classes a week. And that started taking from our time and more of our income, and we would work more so we could take aerial classes.
But then we wouldn't have time to take the aerial classes.
And the
because we're working
energy
more.
because we're tired from working more. And so we knew we had to find a way to try to decrease the cost and have more time to practice, because we also felt like sometimes when we almost got it, time was up.
Yeah.
And that was a bummer.
Yeah, that was that one is the worst.
Yeah, and we would say, oh, we'll come back to it another time. But every time we go, it's a new routine, new
Yeah.
poses, new things that you're learning. So we had to find a way. We wanted to find a way to level up and get better, but still not spending all of our money on Aerial.
And have the freedom, save the time when it comes to going to and from, because we were about maybe like 45 minutes away from the classes that we would take. So that took a lot of time going back and forth. That's an hour. That's a whole training session just going,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is when we decided that maybe it was better for us to just buy our own equipment.
Yes.
And that's what we want to talk to you about today.
Yes. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking to you about the cost of practicing aerial at home. So why we think this is so great is, of course, Karina mentioned to you how much time, how much we would spend, how much money we would spend. This is one like cost that you pay in the beginning, and after that you can train as much as you like, and you don't have to worry about that. And you can train in whatever you want, you know?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you know, of course we always say wear the right clothing, but you know, you can train and you don't need to worry about getting all dressed up to go to classes or anything. You're always around the equipment. Sometimes it could be a little toxic when you're trying to take a day off, though. I'm not gonna lie.
And you know, the other thing is that when we were training 2 to 3 classes per week, we were improving quickly, but not as quickly as we improved when we started training daily. And that's because when we started training daily, we didn't have any resources to follow online. So we didn't, at that time when we started training at home, there weren't as many options to tutorials and stuff like that. So I remember us looking at videos and routines that other people had put together on Instagram and taking 3 or 4 days to decode them and figure out how we can enter different poses. Sometimes we would lose all of our strength, especially for silks,
Yes.
before we even got the first pose.
Yep.
And so it was also another reason why we started this channel, because we wanted to make this information and all of this content more available to people like us who want to be better at aerial, but who don't want to be spending all their money on everything aerial related, and also want to save time and dedicate that travel time to actually practice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and this is why now we get messages complimenting how good we are at aerial, because we train daily.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see that with even if we stop training a certain apparatus for a little bit of time, we'll find that we'll still need to kind of add more training of that apparatus on a daily basis to get back on track. So let's say you take a long vacation and you don't get to go to classes. Having your training equipment at home can give you that edge that you're able to kind of do more review before you get back to classes. Because like we mentioned, our videos are not meant to take away from classes. We definitely recommend that you take classes, but it's so nice to have your own equipment at home that you can get better at what you learned in class and also try new things on your own too.
Yes. So now that we've convinced you to go out and buy your own equipment, how much will this cost you?
Yes. So there are different routes you can take when it comes to getting your own equipment at home. You can start off with mounting your equipment.
So mounting your equipment is something that we haven't done, as you can see. So what we want you to know is that when you decide to mount your equipment, there are certain tests that you need to do to your home or to the space that you want to train at. This is for safety precautions, and these will cost you money, and it all depends on where in the world you are at and how much it's going to cost, and if there are people available who can do this for you.
Yes.
So mounting is a little bit more information and more costly. So this is something, and since we haven't really done that, we're not allowed to mount stuff in our apartment in Taiwan, especially because it's not our home. We are renting the apartment. So we can't do this, and so we don't have too much information for you about mounting, but we do know that they have groups on Facebook and so on where you can ask about how to find mounters and so on, and there are also courses online that you can take, right?
Yeah.
So that you can know about the different safety precautions when it comes to mounting your equipment. We do think that if you're training at home, maybe a rig is the better way to go, because especially if you're a renter, when you leave, you can take it with you.
Yeah.
And you also don't have to worry about the safety precaution that goes into having to test your home and having it affected with all the drops and so on that you'll be doing.
Yes, definitely. And the good thing about having a rig as well is that if you want to take it outside, you're able to do that as well. Most of the rigs that you have are portable, so takes about, depending on the one you have, about 20 minutes or so to take it down, and then and put it outside. If you want, you can take it to the beach, stuff like that. So definitely recommend getting a rig. So since that's what we know more about, we'll be talking to you about different types of rigs and how much it would cost if you were to get a rig for home. So we talked a lot about the benefits. Of course, we want you to know that, of course, you need to pay in the beginning initially to have all of this, but it's important that you get the things that you need to make sure that you're practicing safely at home. So make sure that you have your rig, make sure you have a crash mat, make sure that you're checking the equipment, because you want to make sure that they don't have that wear and tear before you train. But when it comes to the price of rigging, you can start off with something that's a little more cheaper or something that's more expensive. So I'll talk to you about 3 different rigs, different price points, starting with the one that we have, that is an Uplift Active Rig. So we have an Uplift Active Rig. We've had it for about 4 years now. It's been a while, so it does last some time. We do recommend that you switch it out when you feel like, hey, its integrity has been compromised a bit. So definitely do that. But I think for 4 years, and we train daily. Both of us, and sometimes at different times.
Yes.
So she'll train for an hour and a half, and then I'll come home and train for about that time as well.
Yes.
So probably about 3 hours a day. We also do
doesn't include the time that we spend filming, because when we film, then it's about 3 to 4 hours depending on what videos we're making.
Yeah, that's true as well. So we do spend a lot of time on it. So starting with the Uplift Active Rig, we'll leave that down below for you to see. A rig will cost you about $920, $919.99. So you need the rig, the A-frame, like you would see in our videos. You'll also need to buy a swivel and a carabiner if you're someone who practices like spinning. So, if you're not doing just aerial yoga, you want spinning hammock, and also for silk spinning as well. So a swivel and carabiner set will cost you about $50. And then if you're tall like me, you'll need a top bar extender.
Yes.
Yeah, so we noticed very quickly that if we wanted to do anything that takes us a little higher, if I don't have a top bar extender, my legs will hit the side.
Please tell them how tall you are.
I am 168 centimeters tall. I'm not even that tall when you put it into the feet and inches. But if you're someone who's taller, and also if you have long legs, then definitely opt for a top bar extender so that you're able to do things up higher without having to worry about your feet hitting the side. So that top bar extender costs about $80, $79.99 on Uplift Active. That brings our grand total to $1,050 US. Now, there is also another rig that you can get that is a little cheaper. That would be the one from X-Pole. And that one costs about $700, $699 US. So that one, it's kind of pretty much the same. What was the difference? Why did we not opt for it?
That their extender is not the same like Uplift Active extender. They give you an entirely longer top bar. So that's why. And so this is why we didn't get that one.
Yeah, it's not like really detachable. That would make it a little harder if, you know, we are going somewhere and we wanted to take both pieces.
Or put it in like the vehicle or the car or something like that.
Cannot fully detach.
It's a bit longer. So this one, at least it collapsed a little bit more.
Yes. So with both of those rigs, well, I've seen on Instagram that people take their like X-Pole rigs to the beach, you know, and they're fine with it. We've taken ours outside quite a few times. We've even taken them to performances that we've done, and we haven't really had many issues with that. It's pretty easy if you have two people to like put it up and also take it back down. So it's fine. Now, if you're opting for something that is even, I guess, sturdier, especially if you've been practicing for a while, maybe you want to be outside, you have a really high ceiling, what we recommend, I guess, would be the dream, the Ludwig rig. Yeah, so the Ludwig rig will cost you about $1,330 US for a basic one, the bare one. You would, depending on whether you want a pulley system or not, it would cost a bit extra for that. But you can check all of that out on the Ludwig website.
Yes.
So,
and something to note is that on the Uplift Active and the X-Pole rig is that they don't recommend that you do a lot of drops. They also don't recommend that you do a lot of dynamic movements. So it's more for spinning and pretty flowy things.
So on the Ludwig rig, you are able to do all of those drops.
Especially with the pulley system,
yes.
That kind of breaks the...
Yeah, you don't have the impact as you would, because Uplift Active rigs don't have that pulley system.
They don't need it for the height that they had, right?
That's also true.
It's dedicated for people that have a lower ceiling, don't have as much space. However, when you take it outside, you could put it up very high.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You know, like if they had a pulley system and it were stronger, then they'd be able to do that. So yeah, the Ludwig rig will have that pulley system. So you're able to break your drops a bit easier. You're also able to have it even higher than an Uplift Active rig. So that's really helpful. I think that's what we want to get next.
Yes, that's our goal, to get a Ludwig rig, which also keeps, what we want to bear in mind is that other people who might train with us might not have a Ludwig rig. So we will also bear in mind that we need to make routines that are also safe for the other rigs that you guys might have to train at home, which are the rigs that we use now, just, you know, but we want to be able to also still level up. And to be able to level up, we need something that's a little bit sturdier.
Yes. Great, okay.
If only the shipping didn't cost us so much.
That's the sad part. So if you're outside of the US, then shipping will cost just like half of what the rig costs. So it's
more than half.
More than half
of what the rig costs.
Yeah.
So this is what is taking us a little bit of time to get our rig, because we are all the way in Taiwan, and so that shipping cost is something that we really have to stomach.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, so after we go over rigs, well, you can't just practice with the rig, right? You also need the apparatuses. So we'll start off, we'll talk about the Lyra, the silk, the hammock, and the pole. These are the apparatuses that we use. So if you wanted to buy a Lyra, a hoop on Uplift Active, you can find a tabless one for about $249 US. You'll also, if you're into that like we do, we have tape on ours, so that costs another $10. So all in all, about $260 US. And then our span sets, those cost different prices. We also got them from another website called Fire Toys. So I think that one was about $30, but it also depends on your the height that you get. So you can find different lengths and different prices for those as well if you want to practice there.
And if you're thinking about buying your stuff from Uplift Active, we do have an affiliate link with them. So if you want to help support our channel, we ask that you please use our affiliate link if you're buying from them, so that we can also you can also help us to continue making videos that inform you of these things that are very important to know when you are training aerial at home.
Yes, definitely. So now if you practice silks, you can find those on Uplift Active as well. That's where we have ours from. The fabric is the colors that they have, the ombre patterns are really beautiful. So definitely check it out. But you can find some for as low as like $104 US on that website at this time. Once you're practicing silks, you also need to get a figure 8 in order to put the silks into. That costs about $25 US. And if you want, if you're starting off new, you can also get a set of everything for about $300 US on the website. And that will include a swivel and also a carabiner.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not too bad.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't mention is the fact that you do need to have this set of a carabiner and a swivel. Yeah, this is really important when you're starting in order to spin. So when you buy your rig, you need to make sure that you have that attach your apparatus to, and you can find that on the Uplift Active website as well for about $50.
And you can switch them out as well.
Yeah.
So like when we are practicing Lyra, we just attach it to the one that is attached to the rig, and then when we switched over to our silks, we would remove it and then attach it. So we have 2 carabiners and a swivel, and that is what we move. Yeah, we change apparatuses from it.
Yeah, so if you're buying, like if you're getting all 4 apparatuses, then you don't need to worry about getting the set for each one. Then in that case, it would make more sense to buy like the individual parts. However, if you're someone who's just practicing silks, for example, then you can just get the set, which will have the figure 8 and also the swivels that you need.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then when it comes to hammock, you can find hammocks on the website for about $75. So you can check those out. Also really beautiful colors as well.
And for hammocks, you also need to remember that you will need some carabiners to put the hammocks on, or a figure 8, depending on how you rig your hammock. So when you will need the 2 carabiners plus the swivel, and you will also need 2 other carabiners or a figure 8 so that you can rig your hammock on it.
Yes. And I think even Uplift Active has like a time service that they do where they can help you to tie it ahead of time. Like if you're brand new to this and you're still kind of learning and you just want to get rid of the headache, you can also do their tying service, and I think it's like $10 and they tie them for you.
Okay, that's
Yeah, that would be it for hammock. Hammock is pretty easy to practice at home, and I think that's also one of the more common ones that are practiced at home, because people who have an who practice aerial yoga can easily just convert their aerial yoga hammock to a spinning hammock by just buying that carabiner and the swivel at the same time. The next apparatus that we practice at home is a flying pole. Now that one can't be found on Uplift Active, but we did find it on X-Pole. That's where we bought ours from. It costs about $269 for our pole, which is a chrome pole. Right now, it's actually out of stock.
Really?
Yeah, it's out of stock. But they do have a silicone one for $349.99. I checked.
So the silicone one is the coated one, right?
Yes.
That you can train with wearing clothes.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you are new to pole, that one will help you out when it comes to, you know, staying on the pole, not sliding off. Long term, of course, we like the chrome one because we get to develop that familiarity with training on chrome, and, you know, all the grip, our body gets used to how we're supposed to grip the pole.
Yeah.
But this is also a great option for people who practice outside and it's sweating, maybe in the winter when it's so cold, or also people who prefer, whether for religion, for allergies, whatever, to train with clothes. It's really helpful because then they can wear whatever they want. They don't need to worry about sticky pole, you know?
Yes.
Sticky leggings, I should say.
Leggings, yes.
Yeah, so that's what you can find a pole for. And once again, that pole will just attach to the swivel and carabiner, so you wouldn't have to worry about any additional accessories besides maybe grip.
Yeah, grip.
Yeah.
If you don't get a coated pole, then do try to invest in grip, because especially if you are starting or it is hot or it is cold, it's really nice to have some grip available so that you can train. Grip is helpful because it means that you will be safer, right? It doesn't mean you won't fall, but it means you will be safer because you'll be able to grip the pole better. So it is something you should consider investing in if you're training pole.
Yes. Now, the most important part, you shouldn't do any training before you have your crash mat. Your crash mat is super important. Make sure that you always train with one of those, because guess what? Hospital bills are more expensive. Way more expensive.
Concussions are also scary.
They're very scary for the person and the person who watches you get them.
Yes. Yes. Take it from us, from experience. We know. When we had just gotten our equipment, it took a while for us to figure out where we could get a crash mat. And for some time, we are shy to admit that we did practice without a crash mat. And during that time, some people managed to make their head managed to make their way to the floor many times.
Me?
A couple of times.
You know, I feel like she falls and she doesn't tell me about it because she knows I'm gonna get like worried.
Can we move on? I don't know what to say. It's like, I don't say anything, but now I haven't fallen in a while.
Yeah.
I'm safer when I train, and we do have a crash mat. And this is also why you won't see us training without a crash mat in our videos, because we do understand it looks so nice to train and not have anything under you, but it's not worth it for the concussion, the memory loss that you get, the scare that you get from having a concussion, and the simple fact that if you want to keep training for a long time, you have to take care of yourself.
Yep. And also, like, you'll have that fear as well, you know, that it will happen again. So always practice with a crash mat. We will die on that hill.
Yes.
Okay. So this is where I left this part for you. The total that we paid for all of the equipment. Actually, I didn't leave it for you. I just forgot.
Okay, so while she figures out how much we paid for all the equipment, I will tell you that the crash mat that we have, it was kind of challenging for us to find a crash mat. They do have them available on different websites, but because we're not in the US, and the shipping, the crash mats are quite heavy and bulky, the shipping can cost a bit. So we do recommend that you do some research and to see which site provides more convenient shipping for you. Also take into consideration the height that you'll be practicing at. So if you have higher ceilings, be sure to opt for something that is bigger, sturdier, that provides more support. And if you have lower ceilings, then you can go with something that isn't as protective, but still protects you in case you somehow slip off the apparatus and make your way to the floor. I think the total itself would vary based on
where you are.
And also what apparatuses you have. So all of these things, thank God for my Aerial Bestie, we were able to split the cost between the two of us.
Yeah.
And over the course of having all of our equipment for 4 years, I'm sure that we have spent less money that we would have spent going to classes. And now it's gotten to a point where we feel like the equipment has paid for itself. This is also the equipment that we use to make videos for you guys, the equipment that we use to post our content that we post to TikTok and to Instagram. And so this is also the equipment that has allowed us to level up in a way that I don't think would have allowed us to level up if we had kept going to classes and trying to balance having busy jobs and also our aerial practice, because we are not solely dedicating our time to just aerial. And if you are like us, you will see that although it's a hefty investment, it's one that you can do slowly, starting with one apparatus and then working your way to adding the other one slowly. And you will see that it is worth it investing in your own equipment.
For sure.
Even if you're going to classes, you can go to less classes, perfect the skills that you learn in class at home, and practice and spend more time working on conditioning, especially because, you know, we do a lot of ground conditioning, but it's also very different than the feeling you have when you're in the air.
Yeah.
So this allows you to work on all of these things that you don't have time to do for these classes that are time restricted and also cost a lot of money and also takes your time for traveling back and forth too. Yes.
In total, we spent about $2,154 on all of our equipment for our rig. Now, prior to having our rig, we spent about $500 a month on that. So we paid that off in about 4 months or so. So we've been training on our rig for about 4 years, meaning that we've been training for 3.5 years for free.
think you summed everything up so well, you know.
Okay.
Guys, if you found this video helpful, if you're looking to buy equipment, be sure to leave us a like. And if you purchase anything from Uplift Active, please leave our link. Please use our link. That really helps us out a lot.
Yes, and if you would like more information about a specific apparatus, comment your questions down below and we will get to them as soon as we can, because we want to make sure you have all the information you need before you do that purchase.
Yes. Until next time, bye!
If you watch this video but you're still considering whether or not aerial arts is for you, check out this video we're leaving on screen where we talk about 10 things you should know before starting aerial arts.